Hi, welcome back to It's So Worth It, So Make It. I'm Claudia, and today I'm making a dish for you called Svickova. This is a Czech dish that is a roast pork or a roast beef sirloin that's served with a vegetable cream sauce and bread dumplings. And I'm making this video by viewer request, and I want to say a very special thank you to my auntie Vladka, who shared her recipe with me, and also a very special thank you to my cousin Václav, who was kind enough to translate that recipe for me. And now I am sharing it with you. So let's get started on this recipe. Here's what you're going to need. All right, now we've got all of our recipe ingredients together, and let's get started. Here's how you begin. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. In a Dutch oven set over medium-high heat, melt 1 tablespoon of your butter and add your vegetables. Sauté your vegetables until they begin to brown. Then remove them from the pan. Add the rest of your butter and a little bit of oil and put your meat into your pot. Brown your meat on all sides. This takes a couple of minutes per side. See how nicely it's getting brown? That's exactly what you're looking for. Then you can add your vegetables back to the pot. Add your thyme and your ginger, your little spice bag that you made, and the 2 cups of water. The meat should be almost submerged. Give it a bit of a stir, make sure it's back to the boil, and cover it. You're ready to go in the oven. Great, now we've got our roast out of the oven, and I checked the internal temperature. It is done when it reads 145 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is true whether you are making a pork or a beef roast. So either way, 145 degrees internal temperature, it's going to be done. So the next step that we're going to do is, first we want to get rid of the little bag that we made with our spice mix in it, because we are going to puree the remainder of this. So let's just first get that out of there. And the next thing we want to do is fish out our meat. So let's go ahead and do that. And if you can, leave as much of the vegetable mixture that you can in there. So here we go. Okay, I think I've got all of the meat there. And I'm just going to put my roast on a bit of foil, and I'm going to wrap it up and just let it sit there for a few minutes to cool down just a bit and rest. So we'll just wrap that up, and I'll just put this to the side here. Put that right there. Perfect. Now we need to puree the rest of the broth here and these vegetables, which have roasted nicely and they've released all their flavor, but they're not finished yet. We've got to puree it up, and then it will be almost finished. Okay, so let's get our blender. Now, this is a really great dish that you can make in one pot, and that's one of the benefits of making this meal. One pot is all you really need. You can make this in this Dutch oven. You can make it with a pressure cooker on the stove. That works perfectly great. Follow the rules and guidelines for the cooking time for your size of meat there. You could also make this in a crock pot, but you're going to have to take everything out and eventually put things on the stove to boil the cream in later, so that adds another dish. So I don't know. You can do it. I prefer it this way. And you can also just cook this on the stove. That's great too. So here we go. I'm going to take everything out and put it in my blender. You can use a rod immersion blender also to do this in the one pot if you don't have a blender and you happen to have one of those. I feel like my immersion blender creates more of a mess than it's worth sometimes. So I like to use my blender, and I can get it very silky smooth this way. So we'll just get everything in here. And you probably have to get to the point where you need to just pour it in. And be very careful. Your pot is going to be, owie, see, very hot. Be very, very, very careful. Okay. And that is pretty much there. And I want to get as much of this out as I can because I'm going to put this back into my pot. So there we are. Now I'm going to take this over here. And I like to take the little top off of my blender and put a towel up there because it might come up, but we don't want it all over the place, and we don't also want it to burn us. So here we go, turn it on and get it pureed up. All right, now we've got everything nicely pureed, but we're not quite finished. There's just a couple more steps, and I'll show you how to serve this delightful meal. And this is the time of year when the temperatures are dropping and things are cooling down, and I just crave a really good comfort food, and this definitely falls into that category. All right, so it's pureed. We're going to add it back into our pot, which I just wiped out a little bit so that we don't have any other kind of debris or chunks or anything like that in there, with our sauce. And I'm just going to put it back in just like that. And then we need to add, oh, and it's jumping all over the place. Fantastic. 2 cups of heavy cream. And I know you're saying, oh my God, the calories. Well, you have to remember where this food is coming from. It's coming from the Czech Republic. The winters there are very harsh. These people need their calories to keep themselves warm and healthy. So if you want to cut back on the cream, please feel free to do so. But, you know, I like to try to represent the recipes as authentically as I can. 2 cups of cream. Feel free to cut back if you'd like. And we're just going to stir that in and just bring it to a boil and boil it for about a minute. And at that point, we can adjust any seasonings. We'll give it a taste and see how it goes. And let me give it a taste. Wow. Yum, that is really good. Okay, so to finish that, I don't think it needs any salt or anything like that. It needs a little bit of lemon juice. So I have about a tablespoon of lemon juice here. Please add that to taste, okay? Don't throw in a tablespoon because I said so. Add it because that's how you like the way it tastes. So start with a little and add more if you'd like. Okay, good. And I think it needs just a little bit of sugar because we like it a little bit sweeter. So I'll put a little sugar in there. Another stir. And while that's finishing up its little boil, let's taste it again to see how we did. So velvety, beautiful. I just love it. Oh, yum, really good. Okay, so while that's finishing there, I'll just get all this stuff out of the way, and we have to slice our roast. Okay. Now, here's how you're going to slice up your roast. You get the biggest knife you can find in your house. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But you do have to slice it. And get out your roast and unwrap it. And it's still nice and toasty. And we're going to just put it on the cutting board. Oh, it smells so awesome. There's something about the smell of roasted meat in your house in the winter that makes you want to hibernate after you eat, doesn't it? All right, so now that you've got the biggest knife you can find in your house, we're going to go ahead and just slice this. So we're going to start, and you want to serve this in slices. And by the way, you can also lard your meat if you'd like to. And what that means is if you have a larding needle, you can load it with the lard and stick it in and a bunch of different little places, and then you will see when you cut it, there will be parts that are just fat. And you can also do this with bacon or salt pork, or you can leave it plain, which is what I've chosen to do because I'm using a boneless pork loin, and I think that it is soft enough, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But if you want to really be authentic, do that. I didn't have a larding needle or any bacon in the house. I don't know how. I didn't have any bacon, but I just chose not to do that because of that reason. So anyway, we're just going to slice this in about, I don't know, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch slices. And it's just beautiful, and it's really nice, and you can see that it's juicy inside still. It's beautiful. And slice the whole thing. And I think that's far enough for my purposes at the moment, so we'll just stop there. And this is how you're going to serve this. So our sauce is ready. It's been boiling for a couple of minutes. We can go ahead and turn that off. And we get out a plate, a beautiful little plate like this. And we need ladle. And I have some bread dumplings that I've already made, and I will show you how to make those in a future video. There wasn't enough time today for that though. So our dumplings are on the side. A nice big scoop of our sauce on the plate. Oh, and the sauce and the dumplings. Oh, help me, Rhonda. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. All right, and then you just take a slice of your pork or your beef sirloin, whichever it was that you decided to make, and just lay it on top of the sauce. And the Czechs like to garnish this dish with a slice of lemon and then a little bit of lingonberry jam, preserves, whatever you want to do it. You can also use cranberry sauce if you can't find lingonberry, and that works beautifully too. And the flavors, oh my gosh, the flavor of the lingonberry or the cranberry sauce on there with the meat and the dumplings. Oh, I just don't want to leave the house because I have better things to do, like eat this food. So there we go. This is how you make Svickova. Thank you very much to the viewer who requested that I make this dish. And to all of you, I wish you happy eating and Svickova. It's so worth it, so make it. I gotta go because I've got to eat. Thanks for watching. Bye.